I think I told you about my like rebranded Cozy Colorado cookout. Did I tell you that?
Yeah.
I was going to do a barbecue and then I like branded it as like a cozy cookout. So I did it and I made so many things and they were all delicious. But I think the thing I'm most proud of was my homemade strawberry shortcake. Like I made like little like biscuits from scratch and it was so good. Yeah. What about you?
What I made this weekend is angel food cake.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
never made that before. And my aunt was telling us this story about how her son, who lives in Czech Republic, always wanted her to bring angel food cake mix to the Czech Republic. And she would always get stopped in customs because she'd like take it out of the box and it's white powder in a bag. And so because I'm so judgy, I was like, why don't they just make it? It can't be that hard. Why do they have to get their mom to bring it from? And so I decided to make it. And it's not hard, but it's 12 egg whites, which I did not expect. I don't read the recipe before I start. So I just was like in it.
That's so funny that you say that because when I was looking for recipes for the strawberry shortcake, at first I was going to do angel food cake. And then I looked at the recipe and I was like, nope, not doing that many egg whites.
Yeah.
Like it just seemed like an aggressive number of egg whites. So I did like a biscuit like recipe that was, it was so good. And it used like heavy cream and it was like very, very simple and 0 eggs.
Yeah, this was 12 egg whites. And then also I got all the way to the end of the recipe and it was like, see, I love to cook, but I'm not a baker because I just don't like following instructions. So I got all the way to the end of the recipe and it said, you must use an angel food cake tin because it has to have that circle, that hole in the middle.
Is that a bundt cake?
A bundt
Is that
cake.
like a bundt?
No, a bundt pan does not work apparently because it has to have straight sides and that tube in the middle. So that, and you don't want it to be non-stick because you need the batter to creep up the sides and rise. And so luckily there was a hack where you could put an empty can. So I used like an empty beer can with water.
I thought you were going to say a toilet paper.
Yeah, that was my next idea. So I used an empty tin can in the middle wrapped with oven paper and it actually worked. It was actually I've never really liked angel food cake and it was so good. It's probably one of the best cakes I've ever made.
Okay, well, up until that point, you had just I felt very validated in not making the angel food cake, but the fact that it was so good, maybe I'll make it.
It was so good, actually, because it comes out with kind of a crunchy meringue on the top, because it's just egg.
Yeah, yum.
So maybe
well, you really had to one-up me on that, didn't you?
No.
You're like, but you know what I made.
This is The Naturalist. In every episode, we're covering the products, ideas, and trends that are shaping the CPG industry.
Or that we just really like.
No, I was actually just going to say maybe we could trade recipes. Because you're really good.
I'd trade recipes with you.
Oh, thanks.
What about you, Erika? Hi, Erika.
Hey, guys.
Welcome back.
Thanks. All I hear when I hear 12 egg whites, I hear high protein. I feel like that's the next TikTok trend. Dessert.
Once a supplement expert.
Angel food cake.
Always a wellness expert.
Maybe. And actually in our last episode, I was not riffing on, but I was saying I couldn't really understand high protein desserts because, but hey.
Here you go.
Prove it. Here it is.
Is there more protein in the egg or the white? Do we know?
The egg white. There's more protein.
Oh, the egg white is the protein.
Yeah.
Get that yolk out of here.
Yeah.
I do have a whole bowl of 14 yolks because I made a mistake a couple times. 14 yolks and a couple of whites in my fridge. I don't know what to do with them now.
Oh, you have them in there. Good idea.
Still have them in there.
Just hanging out in the back of the fridge. I'm excited that Erika's back. Erika, I think your episode was one of our most popular episodes to date.
Oh, wow, I'm honored.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah, thanks for having me back, guys. I always love being on here. This is always so much fun.
I was thinking about, I think last time we started talking about hydration at the beginning. And we were I just remember, for some reason, I remember we had all these mugs and we were showing off our mugs and our mugs. But I did want to ask you guys about this because I know, Erika, you're into your hydration. Adrienne, we talk about it incessantly on this podcast. After I said I'm on the hunt for the best hydration beverage out there, I did get a message from someone who had listened, and she said, I really like Level Hydration, LEVL. They exhibited at Expo West and are coming to Newtopia, and they have cans. They're not sparkling, but they're in a can. So I was curious if you guys had that. And then also Klar Labs, Klar Labs. Which I think is like mushrooms, and so I was wondering if you guys had tried either of those, because I have not yet.
Well, funnily enough, I was actually just editing a little write-up that we did about Level for the NFM Newtopia issue, because we're going to be featuring them among the exhibitors at Newtopia. And so I can tell you a little bit about it. So they use acai, blueberries, goji berries in this flavor, which is berry acai, aloe, nopal, ashwagandha, Himalayan salt, and then they're really low in sugar, so just 2 grams of sugar. I will say it's sweetened with erythritol, so I haven't tried it.
I can't believe that just worked out, and we had not discussed that this was going to happen.
This was not planned.
Well, we have talked before about hydration. They're also going to be exhibiting at Newtopia. I know I've mentioned them a couple times, those pops, those hydration pops.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm excited to try those.
And this other company, so the other company seems interesting. Claire, do you think it's Claire or Klar? Klar Labs.
Klar.
I don't know. So they focus on energy from natural caffeine and B vitamins, hydration from Himalayan pink salt, sea salt, and potassium chloride, and then focus with alpha GPC, L-tyrosine, L-theanine, and taurine.
And can I just give a shout out, because you just mentioned protein. As I was scrolling through this list, have you guys heard of Smearcase? So they're going to be exhibiting at Newtopia, and they're the makers of Froco. Froco is frozen cottage cheese, like a cottage cheese ice cream. So instead of Froyo, it's Froco. So each pint has like 39, 40 grams of protein. And it's cottage cheese that may have collagen and some cane sugar. And I think they're in New York, like very small distribution in New York. And I looked at their website and it only has merch right now. So I think they're actually sold out. Or maybe they're just in distribution. But I can't wait to try that. That sounds fun.
Interesting. So I guess I stand corrected on high protein desserts not being a thing.
Yeah, I think more and more people are just getting more creative, because there's that need and that drive for, like, I mean, Halo Top. I remember when that first came out and I was in college, and it was like all the rave. Like everyone on the weekends would just like buy it. Now there's so many options. So I feel like to diversify yourself, you're just kind of like latching onto new innovative things. And I think cottage cheese is interesting.
Do you have any, Erika, do you have any favorite products that are kind of, you mentioned a couple of supplements to me that you're excited to see at Newtopia kind of emerging.
Yeah. I want to pull those up that I sent to you, Adrienne. Let me do that really quickly. But while I'm doing that, I can multitask. Back on the hydration piece, I went to this little wellness social here in Fort Lauderdale, and it was like a branded sponsored event where like all these different brands came in. Like Promix was there, like local fitness clubs were there. What's the chip? The buffalo chicken chip Wild was there. Yes. So I was there, and then there was a local hydration brand that was there. It's called Rovive, RHO Vive, like Revive. And they're like manufactured in the US. They use trace mineral salt from Utah, and like all their ingredients are, come from the US, manufactured here. So that's interesting. And I just really liked it. It tasted really good, but it's super salty. But I'm one of those people I really like that. Really salty. I like that
too.
Yeah. I do too.
Yeah. But so that one is one of my favorites. Yeah.
Thanks. And look at you. That sounds like a fun Fort Lauderdale. Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. It was at there's a new pickleball court that's also built here. It's the first pickleball stadium in the world. So like there's a stadium inside. They have like, I don't even know how many courts they have, maybe 30 or 40 courts, and then they have a stadium where they have like championship games. It was really cool.
Do you play pickleball? Are you a pickleballer?
I don't play it all the time, but I would. But now that it's so hot here, I don't know that I would. I don't know. I'm one of those people where like I like to play sports like that, but I'm in between on the competitive scale, so I don't feel like I fit in really well. You're either like not competitive at all or extra competitive.
That's true. Yeah, especially with pickleball. Didn't someone, I think there's like that documentary about pickleball. Have you guys seen? That is like a Netflix documentary about like competitive pickleball. And
it makes sense that it's a thing,
and it looks scary.
But yeah, it was like something I found on Instagram, and I'm like, what's a like fun way to like meet people and friends that have like-minded, interests and whatnot. So
I'm one of those people, gathering.
Yes, where I'm like, my job and my interests are the same. So, but yeah, Newtopia Now brands that I was looking through last week. I sent a couple, but OceanBlue was one of them that kind of stuck out to me. They're like an omega-3 brand basically, but I tried them at Expo West, and I actually still have them in my my supplement pantry, and I use them every day. You get so many things during Expo West, and that's one of the ones that I kept. But it's interesting, they have like an EPA and a DHA specific bottle, so they're separate rather than like combining them, and they're higher doses, and they're targeting it specifically like for mood and then for brain. So like I think that's really interesting. And you're seeing Nordic Naturals do it a lot recently too, is like really taking a formula and specifically targeting a specific condition and a specific need state. And so I think that really helps consumers kind of fill in the gaps on like, what should I be taking it? What is it for? So
one of those is more, I don't know any of this. So one of those is more for mood and the other is more for brain health.
And I can't remember which is for which because I don't always remember either.
That was going to be my question. Like, does it have other ingredients added to it, or are they like inherently?
Can I go grab them really quick?
Yeah, go grab them.
I was thinking we could all grab a product that we're using, taking, eating, because I know what mine would be. Do you know what yours would be?
I'm not very good with supplement compliance. I have a supplement pantry, but I don't ever remember to use them. But I do have one on my desk that I put here because I was like, oh, I really should take this.
Oh.
But I don't. But it's on my desk so that I could remember to take it. Or I have this one too from Charlotte's Web from their new non-CBD line.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Again, we did not plan on doing this, but Adrienne, you were just one step ahead.
Well, I put them on my desk so that I would take them, but then I don't take them. So that's my problem.
I liked that trend that was going around where everyone was like posting pictures on LinkedIn of like their supplement routine or their stack, I think they were calling it.
For me, it would be more like a wish. I have like a wishful thinking supplement thing that I should be taking, but I don't take any of them. But I have them, the ones that I should be taking. I've got my omegas, I got my brain stuff, I got my magnesium. Don't take any of them.
Perfect. What would make you take them though? Would you need like a little, because I have like a little fun, colorful like pill pack that I put them in every day, and it makes it way easier.
Would you just call me every morning?
Sure. I'd love to. I'll FaceTime you. Make it more personal.
Okay, I have a cross-category a multi-category representation. Okay, this is the most boring supplement. No offense now. It's not about you. It's just, I just started taking vitamin E.
Oh, great.
Ooh.
Just added it in to the mix.
Ooh, tell me more. That's interesting.
Taking it for the uterus. I think it's good for my uterine lining, I think.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Love a healthy uterine lining.
It's important.
Okay, I love this.
I'm obsessed with
I am obsessed with this product. It's a bar conditioner from SeaBar, Sea Breeze conditioner, coconut and lime. I love everything about it. You just like, it's so simple. It makes my hair feel amazing. You love it too, Adrienne?
I love it, and Ellen loves it too. It's amazing. It's so conditioning. It's really silky. It smells incredible. I use the shampoo too.
And then you can refill it. I don't even know when I think this may last me the rest of my life. Like, I honestly don't think it's ever going to run out. Like, it's crazy. There's so much in here. And then this Jasberry, the packets.
Oh,
of this black
I'm obsessed
rice.
with those. The coconut one is my favorite.
Oh,
It's like a dessert for me.
I have not
Oh my
tried the
gosh.
coconut one. Okay, that
So
sounds
good.
amazing. The only bad thing about this is when I spill some around my stove, then I forget about it and I think it's mouse poop. Looks exactly. It's wild. Okay, so those are my products.
I'm not going to go out and get everything from my pantry, but I will say that I've been eating a lot of like different rice varieties from Lundberg, including their black pearl rice. I just had it yesterday and it is outstanding too. So
We'll bring it back to supplements. I'll go ahead and show I'll go ahead and show mine. So it's Mood Food. So Mood Food is the EPA, and then the Brain Fuel is the DHA.
Okay.
So, and they gave them to me. I don't know if they sell them together, if you get them set. I'm sure they have like a bundle.
And why wouldn't you, like, what reason would there be to not just take both of them? I assume both of them are really good for you. So why wouldn't you want to just simplify your routine and take it combined?
We'll answer that into what is my opinion on it is whenever I've seen, like whenever I've tried to buy specific omega-3s, is I try to get really high doses of each. Now, granted, I don't know like the specific amount is like the right amount for me and my age daily, but like because each of them have 1,000 milligrams, like if you look at some of the formulas on some brands, they have like much less than 1,000. So,
okay, Erika, for those who have not met you, Erika Craft.
Hi, everybody.
Tell us a little bit about what you do at NBJ. You analyze the data.
I do. I analyze all of the data. So market research analyst on the NBJ team. So I basically analyze all things qualitative and quantitative data regarding supplement industry trends, market sizing. You know, we do historical numbers, kind of seeing where we've been over the last 5 years, as well as forecasting over the next 4. So it kind of gives you a really good picture of like where we've been and how it's going to shape where we're going, and also what trends we're seeing that are going to have, you know, more staying power versus what's not going to be, you know, what's going to be more stable. But
you make it so relevant and you make it so fun. You know that one of my favorite things to do is like sit down and really unpack the data with you. You help us understand it. You help us tell the stories around it. And it's really fun. So
good. I'm glad.
you.
I always feel like people can make data either really boring or really exciting, and I'm happy I'm in the latter. So that's always nice to hear.
Well, and you're so passionate about wellness and what you do in the supplement industry. So, and I think that really comes across, not just in, you know, your many presentations that you do at Expo West and at other events, but just, you know, in these conversations we have here, which are obviously not very pre-planned.
That's part of the fun, though. Yeah, no, I think it's cool that I get to, you know, obviously for my job, I'm analyzing, you know, a bunch of different data inputs, which I think, you know, makes this report really great, as well as, you know, we have point of sale data points that we, you know, use to help inform our model, but we're also doing a lot of consumer survey research. I'm analyzing all of the annual reports that companies put out. So like Unilever, Nestle, I comb through and see what categories are doing well for them, what channels are doing well, what are they predicting for their, you know, growth in the next couple years. So really kind of gives us a good picture of like where we're at. And it's a lot of time and it's labor intensive, but it's a lot of fun, and it's cool to share the news with everyone. So.
And the output is supplement of everything that you talked about. There's lots of reports that NBJ publishes throughout the year, but this one's the big one, right? The NBJ Supplement Business Report is, I think it's the thing that anyone doing business in the supplement industry needs to get their hands on. So what all is in there?
Yeah, it's really, we kind of explain it as like the foundation for like just getting like a really good basic understanding of like what's going on in our industry. So we track the 6 different categories. So vitamins, minerals, herbs, specialty supplements like probiotics, omega-3s, like we were talking about, meal replacements, and sports nutrition ingredients as well, like protein powders, creatine, etc. And then within all of those categories, what channels are doing well. So we also track 6 sales channels. So we track direct to consumer, but within that, we break it down to MLM, practitioner, mail order. And then we do e-commerce as well. And then we also do natural and specialty retail and mass market retail. And that's a big one. I mean, it's kind of been a big one, obviously, since COVID and like all the channel shifting dynamics that are going on in this industry. It's changed so much in the last 5 years, and it's going to continue to change over the next couple of years. So totally agree, Jessica. If you're doing business in this industry, it's really crucial to get a basis understanding of like what's going on so you can really be there for when things are changing, and you can say, okay, I see that this is what's happening and this is kind of the trajectory that we're on, and how is that going to change over the next couple years. And it changes really quickly now that things have, changed so drastically since 2020, since COVID pandemic, new consumers being in this market, new needs that people have every year, and e-commerce, being so extremely popular. It changes quickly. So got to stay on top of it.
Okay, so that is one of my questions, Erika. I think some of the stories that we tell through this report and our coverage of the supplement industry remain consistent and build on each other. But then to your point, there has been so much volatility, not necessarily in a bad way, but there's been so many rapid changes since COVID. And that's what I always like to hear, like what has surprised you about what this industry, the dietary supplement industry, looked like last year that's different from some of the trends and the trajectory that we've kind of mapped out, some of the forecasting, all of that. What's different? What shocked you?
Oh, I can answer that for a category perspective, and then I can answer that for channel perspective. I say shocking, but if you really think about it, it's not that shocking. Herbs and botanicals I think is a really interesting category because it's been around for a really long time. It's such a staple of this industry. But over the last couple years of the stabilization of this industry, right, over, all the different economic things that have been happening over the last couple years, it dipped quite a bit in 2022. And so that was one of the categories that saw one of the hardest, or I guess most significant corrections. And now to see it bounce back up so quickly again, I think is really fascinating. So in 2022, it was like -3%. Now in 2024, it's around 5.4% growth year over year. So, and we're expecting it to be one of the fastest growing categories by 2028. So to me, that's really, really interesting. Just, of course, given, all of the popularity around sports nutrition and how that's been such a stable category over the last couple of years, we're really expecting to see herbs be one of the top players.
I do think that's really interesting. I agree with you, not just because of its, past couple of years history, but also just to see, this category, which I agree has been so exciting and there's so much happening, but to see this just real surge in popularity, I think. And one of the things that we've talked about, Erika, is like the tie to a lot of the conditions of today and seeing herbs and botanicals for brain health, mood support, sleep, stress, all of these things that all of us are trying to navigate. Do you think that's a big reason, innovation in these key areas that are top of mind for the majority of consumers?
100%. I think that is what's going to be launching this category to really high growth rates, is because I think formulators and brands are doing a really good job at the science behind it and doing these formulations to really target specific needs within these conditions. And so, for mood and mental health, for example, like really targeting stress, like within that. So like getting specific of like, okay, this is your, symptom or problem, like this is how it's going to help. And I think just the formulating is getting really good, and brands are really providing that science and clinically backed research that consumers are wanting. So,
and how far into the nitty-gritty of each of those categories does the report get? Like, do you have information about what are some of those standout herbs and botanicals that are really overperforming in that? Category?
So within the report, we actually do cover like some of the most popular herbs. So we provide market sizing and trends on ashwagandha, hemp CBD, mushrooms. We don't get down into the specifics of what mushroom, like what types, like cordyceps versus lion's mane are doing really well, but the category overall, and turmeric. So those are kind of like the main ones, the main herbals that we put in the report. And so you can see, how the growth is looking compared to overall industry growth and how each are comparing to one another. But we did just do a herbs and botanicals report in, I want to say March or February of this year. And that's a really big deep dive into like the top 50 herb lists, what channels are doing really well within herbs and botanicals. But SBR still does a really good job of kind of giving you that high level understanding of like, okay, well, within herbs and botanicals, what channels are doing well, etc. So
SBR being the Supplement Business Report.
yes, we do lots of acronyms, so that would be correct.
What are some of the other surprises that you've seen?
Yeah, I think the other surprise I'll go to the channel piece of this is the natural and specialty retail channel. Last year it was a big story, talking about how mass market is kind of starting to outpace in terms of capturing the largest market share percentage. So if you're looking at a pie chart of the total industry, mass market is now capturing that biggest chunk of the pie. And then our story has been, natural and specialty retail, something that this industry was built on, keeps losing market share. And so while that's true, we're starting to see growth really return to that channel in a way that was more than what we were previously expecting or predicting. And I think that this is really driven by these younger consumers that we've seen in a lot of our consumer survey research that are really returning to in-store, especially at these natural and specialty channel stores, to really get this information and to get that experience. And so I think that it's going to continue to be a driver.
That's exciting.
And we had talked, Erika, I'm glad you brought that up, because last year at NBJ Summit, some of the, which NBJ Summit coming up in July, and we'll be sharing a lot of data there, but we talked about Gen Z shoppers returning to in-store, but a lot of that was kind of centered around some of the bigger brick and mortar locations. There's one that comes to mind that's experiencing some interesting things right now that we had called out, but I'm curious now, you mentioned you think a lot of those younger shoppers are going to natural, and that does seem like a bit of a shift. So what do you think is driving that? You think it's like the in-store education? Like, is it our co-ops driving it? Like what's happening there?
I think it's the in-store education, but I also think it's just like going into the store and looking at the shelf and understanding like what else is there and what other types of brands and other product offerings there are, so that you're kind of comparing. You can see that like, oh, okay, within Sprouts, for example, like here's this immunity section. Like what are all the types of products that are here? Because some people might not even know that elderberry is something that you can take. And so they're learning it along the way on their own. They could also be asking a sales associate, like, hey, what should I be taking? But I also think it's just the product discovery. And brands are doing such a good job right now of like doing really pretty product packaging. And I can say for myself, I will reach out to more of those brands that just look pretty and do a really good job on product packaging, maybe more than others.
Supplement brands are like the new wine labels, right? Get this product that's so pretty.
Yeah.
That's so, I like that, Erika, that analysis. And as you were talking, I also think a potential differentiator now for younger shoppers between mass market and natural is thinking about supplements as part of a more holistic wellness regimen. Like I think about the experience when you were talking about Sprouts, which Sprouts is doing such a great job of bringing in, emerging brands and tying these categories together. So if a shopper is going in and maybe looking at a powdered supplement, if they're at a natural retailer, they have more access to kind of products that complete that wellness picture. And that isn't as true for larger retailers that have so many different types of products there. So I wonder if this truly embracing dietary supplements as part of an overall wellness regimen is driving more consumers to make those choices in the aisles of natural retailers as opposed to mass market. But you said mass market is still leading.
In terms of market share, yeah. So in terms of like where sales are happening, yes, it is that leading piece of the pie, but e-commerce will quickly be making its way up to that number one spot. But you can look into the report to find out what year that actually happened.
Oh, mystery and intrigue. I like it. Any other categories, Erika, like really top of mind right now as we launch the report?
Oh gosh. One thing that we haven't really talked about here that's in the report is delivery formats. So there's a whole section in there too, basically mapping out the whole supplement $69 billion industry into delivery formats. So that's a really hot topic right now too, is especially understanding, where the gummies market is. It's been such a high grower for the last 4 years, 3 to 4 years really, and everyone always is it staying? Is it it can't grow this fast for this long? And it's interesting to see the dynamic happening within the gummies market, as well as powders, as well as liquids. I mean, it is true that consumers really just continue to look for those more unique formats that aren't pills or capsules or tablets. And then I also keep getting a lot of questions about pill packs, those personalized pill packs. So there's a lot of interest and intrigue there on like, is it doing well? You keep seeing more smaller brands, kind of launching products that have these personalized packs. But of course, you see Care of that gets dissolved. So it's kind of like, what's really happening there? But yeah, I think the report does a really great job of kind of explaining that landscape as well.
I'm going to have you come to my house next time you're in town and just make me some of those pill packs. And then call me every day to tell me to take them.
Perfect. I'll do for when Adrienne is allergic to things today, and then I'll give you that pack.
So much to look forward to for your next trip to Colorado. Yes. Organizing Adrienne's supplements.
It's her passion.
It is.
I did see something. I have not taken, I don't normally take liquid supplements, but I saw something like, I think like liquid multis were blowing up on TikTok, which I thought was interesting. Like, and I'm curious about other formats. Like, there's not really any other formats, are there? Like, we have pills, gel caps, liquid powders,
patches,
gummies,
maybe
dissolvable strips are a big one right now. And I say big one by like trending. They don't nearly have a lot of market share in terms of dollar size, but there's a lot more brands that are doing dissolvable strips, which I think is interesting. I was actually just doing a market manifestation for a presentation I'm doing, and it was for beauty. It was like hair, skin, and nail, like dissolvable strips, and they have energy ones too.
Do you put it like under your tongue?
Yep. And there's arguments to be made that it's more bioavailable, when you consume it that way. But liquids are really interesting. And I mean, Mary Ruth's is really one of those top brands that has just so many different types of formulas and different, targets for what they're going after. So, yeah.
Our patches, Adrienne had said patches. Is that allowed?
I don't see that as much. Is that allowed? That's a great question. I'm not certain on that.
Well, Erika, you've certainly given us a lot to think about. I'm feeling like I need to go read that report now.
You should. It's a long report. There are many pages, so it can be a little daunting at first, but there's so much interesting information and valuable information in there. Again, it's really this foundation and your roadmap to really understand like where the industry is, where it's going. And it's our annual report. It's our biggest report. And right next to it is the condition specific report, which comes out in July, which is kind of like the partner to this report. It's basically, taking the whole supplement industry. It's mostly the why of the supplement industry. So all the conditions. So healthy aging's in there, women's health is in there, men's health, children's health. So that's another really good one. And it's a whole other way of thinking about trends is, why are people taking the supplements they're taking? So excited for that one.
Expect to come back on the podcast in just a couple weeks.
Yes,
to talk about that.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Erika. Pleasure as always.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. This is always so much fun.